All right, so first, let me start by saying before we dive into this download, it's imperative that we open it up with the right spiritual energy. So first, let me start by saying peace to the gods and goddesses of planet Kai. Peace meaning positive energy always creates elevation. I want to send the deepest of insight to all our elders, those 65 and older within the university. We appreciate you deeply for tuning in right now to catch us for this evening class about legendary Inca member by the name of Tupac Amaru. To all my peers, those in their 20s, 30s, 40s, I appreciate you deeply for tuning in. We're going to talk about a real revolutionary today, Tupac Amaru. So I appreciate you for joining, make sure you spread this information, spread it around your home, spread it through your neighborhoods. The message has to get out. Spread it far and wide across the planet. Run and tell as many individuals as you can about this information for those of you who are in this university. Definitely to the Blue Crystal babies, love you all deeply. I'm glad that you all are in here so you can find out just how deep this revolutionary struggle go, and that it's not new. It's something that we've been participating in. It's been us on every level to every decade, like I say, of their fake timeline. All throughout their history, you will see that we always was revolutionary. We always was rebellious against them up until 1986 when crack hit. So the 80s and the 90s, we can even say the 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s. So that's only like the last 40, 50 years. Other than that, straight gangsters. All through history, straight gangsters. Today we're going to talk about Tupac Amaru. Now, I wanted to highlight him because a lot of people speak about Tupac Shakur, not understanding where he got his name from. Afeni Shakur, his mother was, part of the Panther 21. They was revolutionary. So with that being said, they was really in tune with the people. Matolo Shakur as well. They were in tune with his story. They were in tune with our history, to be exact. That's why they were so aggressive with the NYPD, CPD, Miami PD, Atlanta PD, LAPD, all over the country. The Black Panthers was everywhere. But what made them so dangerous was the fact that they actually were aware of history, real history. So they knew who they were. They knew that this was our land. That's why they was trying to patrol the police. It was deeper than just, black on white. No, they knew, they understood. All right. And a lot of the Black Panthers were very articulate, very intelligent individuals who spent a lot of time reading. Bobby Seale, Huey P. Newton, gods like that. These gods were very, very articulate, very, very intelligent brothers who came together to fight against the struggle for our people. And if you see how they tore down the Black Panthers, you can see the way they infiltrate any movement. They come within, they infiltrate, they act like they're part of the movement, then they start creating dissension, which we can see going on right now on social media amongst what you call the awoken community. We see it amongst our people. We see it anytime we get any form of order for positive, forward momentum for the whole, they try to come infiltrate. So Afeni Shakur, her being so in tune with herself and our people and where we come from in our history, she knew all about the Incas. Okay? So we're going to learn today about who the Incas are. Of course, I pulled up Wikipedia so you can feel free to read along like a Bible. Everybody, matter of fact, this class, everybody pull your laptops out, pull your extra phone out. I need you to read along. So we're going to start making these motherfuckers read alongs. You hear me? Straight up, just like it was. It's like, pull your book out. Everybody pulled their books out and shit. Pull your books out. God damn it. Go to Wikipedia. Look up Tupac Amaru. And you're going to know exactly where we at, because nigga ain't even start reading yet. But yeah, I wanna read, how I like to do it. I want to tell you what they saying about not only Tupac Amaru, but the Incas. Because Tupac Amaru was the leader of the Incas. Okay? So we just ain't gonna get into Tupac Amaru in here without getting into the Incas. All right? So it's gonna get deep, because you're gonna see. We're going to find out today how deep these lies run and how advanced we always been. Okay? So Afeni Shakur knew all about the Incas. And one of their main leaders, he's a revolutionary. His name was Tupac Amaru. Okay, so Afeni, being revolutionary, named her son Tupac Amaru Shakur. So a lot of people, Tupac, that's the actual leader of the Incas. Okay, so that's another reason why they pushed the agenda of Tupac being an agent, Tupac being a sellout. Because remember, when you saying words, you saying the name Tupac. So although you think about the artist, that's an ancient name that dates back to a revolutionary that was in tune with the magic arts. The Incas was very in tune with the esoteric arts, as we will find out today. All right, so it's like you cursing the name, not understanding what the name really represents. It's no different than Travis Scott saying Astro World and Astro World. You know? It's no different than deaf and deaf. It's only one deaf, but somebody can't hear, they say he deaf too. So, and then, Tupac, he didn't make it no better himself, because when he spelled the 2 PAC, that further kind of removes your mind from the true spelling of it, TUPAC. You know what I'm saying? It kind of gets you away from it even more a little bit. But Afeni Shakur, Motolo Shakur, which would be Tupac's mother and his stepdad, they came up with the name Tupac Amaru. All right? And I mean, even his god auntie, Asada Shakur, because a lot of people think Asada Shakur is his blood auntie. She is not. She's his god auntie. Her Asada Shakur and Afeni Shakur was like this. They were real close in the Panther movement, to the point where she made him Tupac's like god auntie. Like that, she like the auntie, because Afeni and Asada was like sisters. They was that type. So that's why a lot of people think the people that the few that do know about Asada, which I do a lecture on her, Asada Shakur, they immediately think that that's her blood nephew, but it wasn't. I mean, we are related though, so I mean, you can say that still, but you know what I'm trying to point out to. All right, so Tupac Amaru, born 1545, died September 24th, 1572. So he didn't even make it to T30 really, based upon their time limit, right? But on Wikipedia, you can read along. Also, they show you a little fat white dude, because they make all the Indians look white, but we know we the Indians. So Tupac Amaru looked just like me. He was same dark pigment, DEA. All right. But Tupac Amaru was the last monarch of the Neo-Inca state. All right? The remnants of the Inca Empire. So hold on, for those who don't know what the Neo-Inca state is, all right, click on it. We on Wikipedia. This is how you research. Click on the Neo-Inca state. The Neo-Inca state, also known as the Neo-Inca state of Vilcabamba, was the Inca state established in Vilcabamba by Manco Inca Yupanqui, who was the son of one of the emperors of the Incas. All right, it is considered to be a rump state of the Inca Empire, which collapsed after the Spanish conquest in the mid-1530s. Okay, so now we know what the Neo-Inca state was. When they talk about a Neo-Inca state, they talking about how the Inca Empire was ran before Napoleon and them set sail. All right, so Napoleon is known as who? He's known as, if you look up Napoleon is very respected all throughout American history, right? Because Napoleon was the one that conquered the whole known world. He was considered Napoleon the Great. Okay, so Napoleon was the one that he conquered a lot of land. He really did destroy a lot of our great civilizations. Napoleon the Great. The only fucked up thing is in school, in high school, they got you praising this bitch ass nigga. Napoleon the Great. You know what I'm saying? Whole time, what the fuck, what did he do? Why do they call him the Great? Because he conquered all the known land up to that point. So the Inca Empire was huge. It was all of South America. So when you think of South America, you talking Brazil. Think about how big Brazil is. Brazil, Bolivia, Chile, Peru, all of that other land at the bottom of what we call North America today, what they call it South America, all of that was mostly Inca, the Inca Empire. All right? Now, this is why I tell y'all that they lied so much about who we were in history. Because when you get to tracing back, we all was tribal. Like the generations, if you go 8 generations back, you at the Incas and the Mayans and the Aztecs, the Cherokee, these were all different tribes, all with different gifts. Even when you say Yoruba, remember, we all on one landmass. So the Yoruba is looked at as the African tribe, the Ashanti, the Zulu, but this is also on the same landmass. Remember how the map look. I'm looking for an artist to actually draw out the map for me, because I know how it look. I just need somebody to draw it for me so I can start posting it everywhere. Feel me? But out of these tribes, they only speak of certain tribes. We have way more tribes than that. But you're going to always hear the Inca get spoken of. And when they get spoken of, they get spoken of with a lot of spite. Why? Because you have to understand that when they were conquering the planet from us, these different lands, they call them today, the Incas gave them one of the biggest fights down in South America. You get what I'm saying? Because the Inca, that's what, at the Amazon rainforest, all that was down there. Like when Napoleon came to South America, you know, he destroyed the Amazons. All right, so who was the Amazon? Like Venezuela, all that's in South America. You know, that's a lot of land. And it was all Inca empire. It was all Inca territory. And one of our most strongest, fiercest tribe of all goddesses were known as the Amazon warriors. And they were also in present-day South America. Napoleon destroyed them too, because they was in part of the South America. This is where your Wonder Woman stories come from. All right, and we had a whole tribe, a number of warrior goddesses when we fell into a tribal state. They was in the Amazon rainforest. They was called the Amazonians. They were also a part of the Inca Empire, though. Nobody says that. They were like, think about Black Panther, remember? They had a whole warrior race of goddesses protecting Wakanda. Remember that? So the Amazon warrior, the Amazonian warriors were our warrior race of goddesses that was helping protect the Inca Empire, but they were still Inca. You with me? All right, yeah, okay. They were still Inca. So, understand me clearly this evening. All right? I'm going into these Amazonian warriors because they were part of the Inca Empire. I mean, even they don't tell you this in history, but the Mayans and the Aztecs were big tribes that separated from the Inca Empire, and they moved up higher to Mexico and California and all through there. But they originally was Inca, no different than we was all Cherokee. Most of the tribes, like when you're talking down south, the southern states, Mississippi, Tennessee, Kentucky, the Carolinas, VA. Even all the way up to Baltimore, Maryland. As far as Baltimore, Maryland, all the way down Georgia, Alabama, Louisiana, Florida, all that was Cherokee. And then as the Cherokee we started going to war with the Spanish and was getting pushed away, you know, some stayed back and formed the Florida Seminoles. They was the most gangster of the Cherokee. All right, so it's the same thing with the Inca Empire. You had this huge empire. And then you know, as the Spanish came, if you want to call them the Spanish conquistadors, we just going off what they call them in history. We know before the Spaniards, they were motherfucking the elites. These are the original 13 bloodlines. But they in history, they call them the Spanish conquistadors. Now, Spanish conquistador means conqueror. It's a Spanish word for conqueror, because they was conquering shit. But if you get caught at the Spanish in Spain, you'll get lost. Spain, England, Great Britain, all the same motherfuckers. Okay? All the same motherfuckers. That's what you got to know. Don't let them lose you. That's how they lose you in the sauce. So, remember, Christopher Columbus found the planet. He found the wormhole, the portal in the Caucasus Mountains. That's why he always gets so much credit. He discovered a new world for these motherfuckers, which was our planet. But after all that war broke out, and now we steady falling in frequency. We was on the 33rd, vibrating at the 33rd dimension when they came. By the time we got to the Incas, we going down. See what I'm saying? What they call the Incas, we 11, 10D, up in there. Ancient Kemet, that's all like 13D, 14D. You see what I'm saying? These were not time periods, these were frequencies we was on. That's why you still have Timbuktu, University of Timbuktu, and other spots like that still exist. They just on a different frequency. And that's why as the planet rise back up in frequency, all type of cities and beings are starting to appear. They were always there. It's just they existed only on that frequency. See, they tricked us in time with history, got us thinking this shit was time periods. So we thinking that shit was in the past. All this shit's still going on. It's on a different frequency than we are on. All right, that's how deep it get. So now, when they broke us down to the tribal state, one of the most powerful tribes and what they want to call the Americas now was the Inca. Okay. Now, why was the Inca so powerful? Let's see what they saying. Before we go deep, I'm going to Inca mythology. All right. So they say basic beliefs of the Inca mythology. Scholarly research demonstrates that the Incan belief systems were integrated with their view of the cosmos. So right away, you get right into deep shit. And they'll even tell you this on Wikipedia. Everybody go to Inca mythology on Wikipedia. When you put in Inca mythology, just put in Inca mythology in Google. Go to Google and say, what is Inca mythology? Incan mythology. And when you go to it, INCAN, Incan mythology, it's going to send you to Wikipedia. Click on that Wikipedia link and you'll see it for yourself to read it. But it clearly says, scholarly research demonstrates that Incan belief systems were integrated with their view of the cosmos, especially in regard to the way that the Incan observed the motions of the Milky Way. So that's solar systems. They're still dealing with the astral realms, the cosmos, right? All right, so in the solar system that's seen from Cusco. All right, Cusco is one of their little headquarter points that they like to show you, but they lying. It wasn't. They gonna show you this dry desert. You can look at it. It's just a fucking open space with a few little rocks sticking up. And they got you thinking the Incas were gathered there because they want you to think everything was primitive. Like they do with all the tribes. If they do talk about us, once again, they keep us primitive looking like shit advanced. When actually they set shit back. We were more advanced then. All right? So, but the Incan capital, Cusco, was named after it. They had a meaning. It means center of the earth. So they're not lying when they telling you this right here on Wikipedia. If they was lying, I would have told you. They're not lying about that. Let's see what else they say. From this perspective, their stories depict the movements of constellations, planets, and planetary formations. So it's like basically they're telling you they was teaching about astrology and astronomy and all this, right? And this is actually where the human beings learned their information about the stars from. They wasn't just the Dogon, but it was also from the Incas. But they don't tell you that on Wikipedia. They call it the Incan belief system. So they use the term belief system to throw your ass off to make you feel like that's not like real cosmic law. It's just their little belief system that they had. You get what I'm saying? So let's keep going. They say they also were all connected to their agricultural cycles. All right. This was especially important for the Inca as they relied on cyclical agricultural seasons, which were not only connected to annual cycles, but to much wider cycle of time every 800 years. So right here, this is these energy cycles that they were aware of. So they didn't go on the time. It wasn't no 24-hour day with the Incas. They knew that shit was bullshit. They let you know right off back they were connected to the cosmos. You see what I'm saying? This is why they were one of the most powerful and most intelligent tribes. This is why Napoleon didn't leave until they eradicated them. Because remember, after they blew our crystal towers up and cut the trees down and pushed the second sun away, they lowered our state and put us in a position where now we mortal. We became mortal again. We were immortal, even on a physical level. But when our frequency lowered, the only thing that remained immortal was the soul. Okay? When we were vibrating at 33rd dimension, we were already immortal. You walk in and out of these avatars, they never die, but as they lowered the frequency, removed our major defense mechanisms, now they put us in a mortal state. And that's when they went to war with us with their knives and their spears. That's why X-Men Apocalypse, he say no more spears. Because spears, the shit that they used in the beginning, are coming us with. And it's all we were left with was spears in our basic hand-to-hand combat back in our little magic rituals that we can still tap into. Thank you to the herbs and plants and shrooms. You know, the little shrubberies. So this is where your Haitian hoodoo start coming in at. This is where your voodoo start coming in at. But we were way more advanced than that. This is just what we was left with after the fall. So, they say this was their way of keeping time, was deployed in order to ensure the cultural transmission of key information in spite of regime change or social catastrophes. So social catastrophes represents these Spanish conquistadors, Napoleon to be exact, coming through with droves and droves of their army, forcing their way of life on us. This is how after they slaughtered us, all right, they begin to infiltrate our thalamus glands and our brains and do a genetic experiment on us by feeding us the food they start feeding us, by feeding us the information they start feeding us. All right, so this is what they were doing when the Spanish conquistadors came around, not just to the Incas, but to all the tribes. This is what they was doing. Now, when you read about the Incas, they call them the Spanish conquistadors. You go read about the Cherokee, they're going to say it's the English. All the same motherfuckers, man. Don't let them titles fool you. That's how they lose you. Don't let them titles fool you. That's how they lose you. But this is all connected. This is all connected. Hell, they know about the Orishas in Brazil. They into Santeria. They into all of that. Why? All in Cuba, these little islands. Why? This was all one landmass. Atlantis. The whole realm. Atlantis. Don't forget the name of the realm, y'all. We're on Atlantis. We are the Atlanteans. Lemuria is the continents that sat outside of us that were also part of Atlantis but got broken off by the ice walls. Then the elite started to rename it Lemuria. But then they write in history, they make you think that the Lemurians were before the Atlanteans. Well, really, the Lemuria and Atlanteans, we the same people. Once they split the land, they called us different names. No different than when they came within the continents and started splitting us up. We became Africans, Puerto Ricans, Dominicans, Haitians, Cubans, Hawaiians, Americans, Canadians, Bolivians, Brazilians, Peruvians, Filipinos, Vietnamese, Laos, Nigerians, Kenyans, all these titles to chop us up in so many slices. So the Incan Empire was no joke. You talking about all our magic. They got most of our magic thanks to Napoleon bitch ass. Like all the magic that the Moors didn't give them, the magic that was left that really mattered, they got that when they destroyed the Incan Empire. The Empire of the Incas. See, before we get into Tupac Amaru, you have to understand who the Incas was. And the role they played. But we talking about the cosmos. All our drop, all the drip, Incas had it. They still got our shit, but they not able to use it. All that shit under the Vatican. All of it. Libraries and libraries and libraries upon libraries of information they've stolen from us that they was never able to apply. Well, if we can't use it, we ain't gonna let them niggas use it again. Rather hold it and can't use it than let them use it again. The Dogon told them about the Sirius star system, but it was the Incas who taught them astronomy. The Moors gave them a little glimpse into it, but it was the Incas who took them over the hump. And it was they found out the truth of, because you know when they first traveled with the reptilians and the Pleiadians, they ain't know shit. They was in animal Neanderthal state, so they wasn't even in the state of being able to comprehend what the fuck they was doing and where they was going. But after they landed, remember, we reverse engineered them. The Moors did first. after they came out the caves. This is at the beginning. This is before time. This is at the beginning. Remember that. So they took that and began to do what they do against us. All the shit the Moors taught them, they started using against us. That's how they went to war with us. They took everything we taught us and attacked us from within with it. And it was an off-guard attack. But we were so strong and so powerful that it still they had to keep dropping us to different dimensions. They got us all the way down to 3D. And now we rising back up. 5D, 6D, 7D. We going up and up. 8D, 9D. 10D. Some of us is vibrating on 10D right now. You don't even, that's why you seeing certain shit. You doing certain things. Now we going back up. And the planet herself going up. She's going 5D. But then wait till you see her hit 6, 7, 8. You know, you got individuals that's vibrating at their own vibratory rate. You know, that's as their own souls, but never forget the planet Kai and Mother Kai is alive too. So she's raising her frequency back up. Nigga, she hit 6, 7, 8. She hit 7, 8D. You ain't gonna see no more motherfucking tree, no leaves falling at all. Ain't gonna be a winter at all. That's why it's leaves now. Bless you, man. That's why it's leaves now. Feel me? Because that frequency steady rising up. That's why it's taking longer for leaves to fall. As the frequency rise, I told you trees, them little trees are gonna start singing again. I'm gonna save that though for my Majestics video we doing this Saturday right here on the site about grasshoppers and ants and these other what you think are insects. Some of them are Majestics. We'll talk about that Saturday. But just look at it on Wikipedia. I'm just going a whole lot deeper than they going to take you. But even if you go there, they talk about some of the deities, right, that the Incas had. This was us, though. Remember that. Us. Okay? But some of them was like Apu. Was a god or spirit of the mountains. Why? What they call a mountain Apu, the Incas knew that all the mountains used to be tree stumps. And each tree had its own spirit and was alive, just like me and you. That's where the whole hugging trees originates from. Because anciently, our trees, the mountain stumps is our trees. They were so big. Go on the West Coast, you see them. It'll take your breath away when you know what they is. You're like, oh my God, look how big these trees was. And they everywhere. But when they were that size and before they came and cut them down, the trees spoke. They sung. What we was left with was replicas and 30mm bushes. The bushes sung and it was one big forest. We nature, one big forest. Beautiful. This whole realm was a huge, beautiful, magical forest. And they show you, this is what they try to depict. This is what Disney and them this is what they use to captivate you. To captivate us as kids. The essence of how those forests and how the planet felt with the little enchanting music. You know, you get a feeling when you watch Wizard of Oz. You get a certain feeling when you watch Alice in Wonderland. You get them certain feelings when you watch certain Disney movies that deal with like forests that's alive and things being alive. Everything being alive. Remember as a kid? That's because that's how the realm felt. It was magical. So we did used to hug the trees, and they would hug us back. They showed you that in the movie Pocahontas, Mother Willow. Remember she was singing the Pocahontas? What they was showing us this shit. That's where all this come from. Pocahontas go talk to her, she go talk to her. Yes, this is what we did with the trees. So the Incas was like, that's why they was a very important society that they had to conquer. Like to get them out the way, then what shit left were like moving further, like Cherokee and all them, they were powerful, but they had to get the Inca, because remember the Inca, when we became tribal, we broke apart with the knowledge. That's why they tell you in the Bible, the Tower of Babel, we separated them, we scattered them amongst the land. So we all had certain knowledge. And when we became scattered after they blew up them our crystal towers, our crystal pyramids, huge pyramids made out of lapis lazulis, labradites, green agate, rose quartz, whatever crystal you could think of, we had huge rainbow fluorite, huge pyramids made out of each certain type of crystal. Beautiful. Come on, beautiful. Beyond like words. That's why I need to put out a movie, y'all. I write it out. I just need motherfucker to goddamn draw this shit out. I like emotion. It wouldn't even it had to be like in damn the cartoon form. Like then like an anime or something. Feel me, like, so y'all can really see what I'm saying. Cause we can show it better. We visual, y'all. So you hear it, but for to see it, it's different. And I'm talking about, man, I had so many motherfucking episodes of it, y'all. We can run longer than the Cosby Show around this motherfucker. Longer than Friends, nigga. You hear me? I'm telling you. You know what I'm saying? Like, never-ending episodes. Shit run 60 seasons, nigga. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, for real. I'm there to think about doing it. Shit. I just have right here on the website. Shit, we ain't trying to go fuck with the rich, white, elite, reptilian motherfuckers. But, because I really want to show y'all this shit, man. I see it. I know it's right here for me. I remember. But I'm helping y'all remember because y'all was here too. We was all here, man. Especially the souls that's here right now. We was here through this shit. That's why it's always remember who you are. Remember who you are. It's just remember. We trying to remember. And guess what? They attacking the fuck out of me for trying to get y'all to remember. They attacking me in my personal life, attacking me all type of ways. I see it. I'm like, damn, they at me. You know what I'm saying? But we in this together. Nothing gonna stop the rise. We healing. So a big part of remembering all this stuff matters, like Apu. That's why they had a god named that. They had many gods. Why? Because we were all the gods. Each fucking Inca was his own god and goddess, like we always been. That's why when they tell you stories of all these Native American tribes, they want to call us that, notice we all had multiple gods. Each tribe was talking about it was multiple gods. Why? Because anciently we knew what it was. Okay? But they don't want you to know that, so they chop it up and make it seem all crazy. But yeah, you had Mama, who was the goddess of potatoes. So you know what that means? That was a goddess that was none but a goddess in the village who had mastered the art of growing them goddamn potatoes. Feel me? Echo was the god of heart and wealth. I'm just gonna read a few of them. Inti was their version of the sun god. You get what I'm saying? Of warmth and light, a protector of the people. All right? You had Khan, was the god of rain and wind that came from the south. You had Mama Cucho, who was the sea mother. She was the goddess of the sea and protectors of settlers and fishermen. You had Mama Pacha. A Pachamama literally translates to Mother Nature. That's like saying Planet Kai. You had Mama Killa, like literally Killa, like Killa, right? Check out. Moon Mother or Golden Mother was a marriage festival and moon goddess, all right? So when we talk about this moon, remember I told y'all that the moon ain't real, right? So when they give it, all they doing when they put this on Wikipedia is attributing that power to the goddesses that was a part of that Incan tribe that was in tune with the placements. With the energy vortexes where the moon now sits. You get what I'm saying? Because they placed that moon at the right point in the sky on a certain angle at a certain degree for a reason. It's all play a role in them being able to control the frequency of the planet through the moon, which we spoke about this on YouTube. So the Incas, you keep running down the list, but they ain't gonna tell you everything anyway, but it gets much deeper than that. Who the Incas was. Now, Tupac Amaru was their leader. Feel me? He was left in charge of protecting the kingdom. He was left in charge with that. And he fought fiercely. They fought just as fierce as the Seminoles did. And the Illinois did. You know, all these names come from us, California. Them all our names. Told you it was a goddess named California. She was black. And she was right there with President of California. On hold, that was her shit. She was the goddess of that area, the high priestess of that tribe over there. And they slaughtered her and named the state after her. All them little names. Los Angeles was the chief of the tribe. Chief Los Angeles. All these fucking cities and states is named after our chiefs and our emperors and us and these tribes. The rivers and everything. And most times when if they slaughtered you at it, like, okay, for example, the Mississippi, we should all know was a tribe. All right? They named it the Mississippi River. And you know how many people they slaughtered in the tribe right there along what they call the Mississippi River, which is really the Nile River? Because it's the Mississippi on this part of the map. If you get low into Africa, then it turns into what they call now the Nile River. All connected. All right? All connected. So Tupac Amaru went to war with the Spanish, and he was trying to basically defend the empire. But they were able to get him by, they captured his brothers first. They captured a bunch of people in the tribe. And then it was just left with him and his wife and a few more individuals. But his wife was pregnant. So they was able to catch up with them. You feel me? And they convinced him that they wasn't going to kill him. And he turned himself in. You feel me? Wife, they captured his wife. They captured him. And then they killed him. Same way they did Osceola, leader of the Seminoles. See what I'm saying? Nigga like me just would have fought right there. Shit, we gonna just shit. Ain't no need in going with you niggas. Get fuck who got caught. Cause that's how they put up on, man. We caught most of your tribes, so you might as well come along. Well, nigga, shit, nigga, you gonna have to take a body back today. Cause there ain't no need of me just going back free will with y'all. I know what y'all on when we get there, nigga. As soon as we get right there. We've been fighting y'all ass for years. Y'all want all our land. We ain't want to give it to y'all. The Incas killed a lot of them, man. It wasn't easy. The Inca Empire was so huge. All those pyramids that they had, still over there. All throughout South America. Like I say, the Amazon rainforest, man. And all down in Venezuela. Man, Venezuela was his whole continent under Venezuela. That's a whole nother live, though. Present-day Venezuela, it's a whole nother continent under there. Well, it was us, and they slaughtered us, and we lost in these what? They knew exactly how to get us. They had all the tablets. They had all the help. The Moors helped them all the way through. The Moors helped them conquer us. They put the Moors under spells originally, and they never, when they turned the Moors against us and put them on these spells, remember, the Moors was the ones that told them the secrets. Feel me? All right. It was the Moors, and there was these fallen angels. Well, not fallen angels, but they fallen angels now. Most of them converted over with Satan, bitch ass. But in the beginning, remember, we assigned the Moors to help the human beings evolve, to get back to a sort of a God state. They could never be at our God rate, but we could get them the best in our image, which we did that. They got rid of the tails and all that shit for them. Now only a fourth of them still grow tails. All of them used to grow tails. All of them used to come out face full of, you know what I'm saying, like a straight Ewok. Because of the genetics. We changed all that. But remember, the overseers, who they call the watchers, were these other advanced gods and goddesses. Well, gods. And this was just their role. Remember, we got a community. So, okay, look, we're going to assign a few gods to watch over them niggas. Look, y'all watch over them because the Moors is training them now. Y'all watch over the Moors to make sure that they training them. It was like that. No different than a business owner. He hires the manager. The manager role is to watch over your ass to make sure you get the goddamn job done, right? That's where they get that from, us. We assign these watchers. Remember, I told you, these watchers, they started having sex. They tell you about them in the Bible. They started having sex. These was black gods. Started having sex with these white women, these human being women. And started teaching them all of the different spells and enchantments that we had that they wasn't supposed to taught them. And they took the shit back. They took it back to the white man, to their species. And they used that, them and the Pleiadians, they gave it to the Pleiadians, and they used that to put the Moors under spells. Once they got the Moors under the spell, think about Avengers, the first one. Remember when Loki was putting motherfucker under spell? Yeah, motherfucker eyes turned blue. Now they was on Loki's side fighting the Avengers. Y'all remember that? If you don't, go back and watch the very first Avengers. You know what I'm saying? Loki had, I forgot his name with the arrow on Avengers. It's my boy too, man. I'm bogus as hell. But he on Avengers, he got the arrow. All right? Loki put him under the spell, and he was doing Loki work. We seen in Thor and the Hulk, when the Hulk got under the spell, he was trying to whoop Thor's ass. Right? That is about originally how they did us. Like, they put the Moors under them same type of spell. So that's why the Moors was with them through all the wars of conquering us. That's another way they was winning. Because they had our ass helping them against us. And then once they won all the wars and got all the land, then they went over and they started building up Europe. And they used the Moors to do that. The Moors started building up all the cathedrals and all of that shit. The Moors started making the timelines for them and all that shit. They was under spells. They built the whole Europe up for them. You can read on that too. Probably do a lecture on the Moors. And the Moors had all this ancient knowledge. That's why if you go read Noble Drew Ali, he'll give you a lot of drop because all this was still our knowledge. But then, guess what? Once they made the timeline for them, that's why 1492 started. And then you see all the way to like 1776, the Moors was under spells. Nigga, they snapped out, even in 1776, they helped write the Declaration of Independence. It was Moors there in Philadelphia. They helped come up with the preamble. They wrote out the preamble, the Constitution, the Articles. They came up with all, it was black guys that came up with that shit, man. The Moors did all that. They were under spells. And then once they broke the motherfucking spells, they went to war with them in Europe and they lost. Go read about it. Matter of fact, I'll do a lecture on it, so you ain't got to go read about it. I'll add it tonight after we get off this one. But the Moors, once they snapped out of their spell, boy, they went to war with their ass. You should ask yourself, they was over there helping them. They just went to start going to war. Think about it. The Moors was helping them, and out of nowhere, they started killing the Moors in Europe. That war is well documented. But this is why. This is the ancient thing that was going on. So when they was coming around against the Incas, this is before they started really building Europe all the way. They was in the process of that. They still had the Moors with them, using all type of magic. It was a whole magical war going on. Because you got to remember, the Incas was well in tune with the cosmos and the portals and vortexes, the energy and the use of the forest. And like I say, the Amazonian rainforest big as hell. The Amazon rainforest big as hell. They done burned most of it down trying to get to the secrets that's very deep in there. But the Amazons, the Amazonian warriors, they do that like the back of their hand. And if it wasn't for the Moors, they wouldn't have fucked with them. That's a tribe full of Wonder Womans. And they was all giants. They were still in a giant posture. That's why they were used as the warriors of the kingdom of the Incas. Because although we fell in frequency, these certain goddesses never did. They was still in tune with certain herbs and berries that kept them at the highest vibration to where they still maintained their size. They were giants. The Amazonian warriors, they stood 20 feet and up. And we were way bigger than that. Remember, at our highest, people was 50 to 100 feet and up. So as the frequency dropped, we got shorter and smaller and smaller and smaller. But they still 20 feet around that time, like them avatars on Pandora. They was huge. That's why when you see a tall goddess, oh, she an Amazon. Then they'll tell you, the Amazon, they was only 6 feet. Man, they was way bigger than that. Warrior goddesses, beautiful, strong, fully in think of Wonder Woman. They was doing all that shit. They wasn't nothing to play with. But you had the Moors helping them. Had the Moors giving them intel. They had the low. Just like today. You go to war with a motherfucker. If you got a motherfucker from that block, when gangs go to war, say the Bloods going to war with the Crips. If the Bloods trying to go to the Crips hood and they got a nigga that's on their side, that's on that block, that know the Crips block, they gonna have an advantage over the Crips. Because it's a nigga on the inside that know that neighborhood. If the United States of America, they trying to go to war with Nigeria, and they got motherfuckers from Nigeria on they arm in the USA that know Nigeria, they're gonna have an advantage. That's what they do anyway. They pay motherfuckers from the bribe, motherfuckers. They gonna have an advantage, okay? So that's what they was doing with the Moors from jump. And Tupac Amaru, he was holding it down the gangster way. Even when all the magic ran out, they was still fucking them up, man. They killed millions of them motherfuckers. Because they was already cloning themselves. They killed Tupac. Look, the Tupac Amaru wasn't no joke. They despised him more than Nat Turner. He wasn't no joke, man. The Incas wasn't no joke. That's why I don't like to talk about them or none of that. You talk about advanced states where we all was tapping into this higher sources of magic and energy. They knew how to channel that sun's energy. Hear me? Literally, like they'll pull plasma out the sun, was fucking them up. Plasma coming out the sun in all type of formations. Fireball shape, plasma, lightning bolt shape. They pulling plasma out the ground, using the source of the trees because they still had all the herbs and the roots. So when you think of Groot off motherfucking Guardians of the Galaxy, that's what our trees do. That's what our plants do. When they are awakened, they can really fight with us. Now think of Groot. He said he growing limbs. He fucking, man, Groot ain't no hoe on that. Go watch that. Groot a motherfucker, because you see, well, that's where all that come from. So he fought all the way to the death and they snaked him out. But because of that, they despised the Incas and they despised him. Tupac Amaru was a revolutionary, man. Straight revolutionary. Even when the magic ran out, he still was gangster with them folks, with their own shit. The guns started. That's when we started using guns. When the magic ran out, then niggas started using guns. They already had the guns because that was what little weaponry that the Moors created when we was trying to train them to do bigger things. Hand-to-hand combat of guns, even when all the magic ran out and they was taking everything out the Inca Empire. Tupac Amaru and them stood strong, man. They killed a lot of them. That's why they don't like him to this day. That's why when Afeni, she knew what she was doing when she named him Tupac Amaru. She knew who the fuck Tupac Amaru was. So Tupac was marked regardless, just off his mama naming him that. Feel me? Just the name. Certain names hold a lot of weight with these people, man. They're not going to play over certain names. Because they remember how the names tortured them. And Napoleon was rewarded for him and what him and the Moors did to the Incas and the Amazonian warriors, because those were giants. Giant Wonder Womans. A whole tribe up. Think of Wakanda, how we had the warrior race of goddesses. So I ain't gonna hold y'all up all night, man. I want y'all to really go dive into what I said. Go dive deeper. Go read it. Look at a couple documentaries that they got on the Incas, and then put that with what I told you and what we know and hear about who we are as gods and goddesses. And it's gonna all make sense for you. That's the homework. All right. Peace to the gods and goddesses of Planet Kai. I'll see y'all tomorrow in class. Now we rise, Reflections.